In this video, we're going to uncover a subtle yet powerful dynamic that could be what is blocking you right now. Neville taught us the power of living in the end now, bringing those assumptions that align with that wish fulfilled and starting to live it right now. And maybe that end experience is a relationship. Maybe it's an amount of money or possibly a career, living in the security, the abundance, and the freedom of what that would feel like now. But what happens when you feel like you are living in the end, you are doing the work, but nothing is changing? My name is Abby and welcome to this video. Before we get into it, I want to let you know that if you are interested in working with me one-on-one to uncover whatever it is right now in your life that could be blocking you from the power of living in the end or blocking you from that manifestation that you're wanting to have in your life, the information to book a session is below. It is a little bit unusual in the sense that it is a donation-based payment system, meaning that I'm trying to make it as accessible to everyone as I can. There is an option to donate more if you'd like to, and the tip option, however, it is a $30 minimum payment. And if that resonates, if you want to work with me, go ahead and click that link below. Let's get back to the video. So what is going on? You're putting the energy out there, you're trying new things, efforts being taken, and yet there is no change. Today we're going to be diving into how you can better implement and be more effective by looking at living in the end versus fantasy. And before we do that, you know me, I want to get into the etymology of it. So when I looked up the etymology of the word fantasy, because I oftentimes hear people are talking about, okay, I'm living in the end, and I hear some of the things that they're going through, and I can see, okay, it's not thinking from the end, it's thinking of the end. You're still staying in your current spot and thinking of these things. And what does that sound like? Fantasy. And the etymology of the word fantasy in 14th century, basically that's when the word fantasy brings in this component of illusion. And what is illusion? Basically something that is not real. You are playing pretend, you are playing a part, but you're not being it. So that's going to really bring us to the first part of this entire thing. The fact that living in the end, you are being that version of you, and thinking of the end, you're basically in a fantasy, thinking of it, still being in the thoughts and feelings in the state of being that you were in the undesired state. And when you have that fantasy and you come back, nothing actually changes. So this is a massive, massive block because you're not really getting into the components of living in the end. And I'm going to bring on a special guest to help me further explain this point, and that is Past Abby. Hey, it's Past Abby. I am here to help you. Apparently, I've gotten some hiccups on living in the end. Little do I know right now that I currently have a massive issue, and I have no idea that I'm not actually implementing living in the end. So let's look into what I am doing and what current Abby used to do via me in hopes to give you a better example of what you're doing and why it could be blocking you. That looked like me thinking about that relationship. That looked like me imagining what it would be like to have this person. But since I was just fantasizing about what that would be like, and wow, if somebody actually committed to me, how amazing that would make me feel. All that time I spent thinking of it, if you zoomed out, you could actually see that I was still in the dynamic that I was creating from, meaning that the dynamic I was in at that point was people who were emotionally unavailable, people who would reject me, people who would abandon me. And when I thought of a different dynamic, I was still in the thoughts and feelings of the Abby, me, who was getting rejected because I was emotionally unavailable to myself, because I continued to find people who I could prove, who I could earn. Basically, the issue I was having is I was fantasizing of it. It wasn't real, and I wasn't being anything different from when I had that visual to when I wasn't. When I was thinking of it and pretending and walking around life, I wasn't thinking, feeling, or acting any different than I was in the current reality that was being reflected back to me. I thought that if I could have that relationship, then I would start doing things in alignment with that secure, loving relationship. Then I could think and feel and be in that alignment. So I thought it was have, do, and be. Whew. Time traveling. This is current Abby, and I want to let you know that what helped me shift that and actually live in the end was realizing that it's be, think and feel, do, have actions in alignment with those thoughts and feelings, and ultimately that will produce having that experience in your outside world. That means that I had to start being that aspect of me, that version of me that was in a safe, loving, secure relationship before it ever manifested. So I wasn't thinking of it, I was thinking from it. And what did that look like? Well, huge part of this was starting to recognize my own behavior, realizing that that was the ultimate game changer of it all. I continued, and LW will tell you this, to look for the change to be outside of myself. I had to look at how I was rejecting myself, how I was neglecting myself. Old Abby here, I thought that I could get my validation and my self-worth through a relationship. I thought that through this connection, through this relationship, I could feel better. So in moments that presented itself that maybe I could get in a relationship, maybe this person will like me, maybe this person will stay, I was so willing and basically in an unconscious way to abandon my needs, to abandon what I wanted and be anything, hero, a rescuer, whatever that person needed so that maybe they wouldn't leave. As I started to continue this pattern, I continued to get what I was being. And what was I being? Self-rejecting, self-neglecting, and ignorant to what I needed. And what did I get a reflection of? The same in another person. No person in that dynamic is bad or good. It was just an energy dynamic. As I started to become more aware of this, I started to see, wow, I'm really afraid to say how I really feel or what I really need, because if I do, they'll leave. And ultimately, even though I was trying to live in the end, I was trying to get the end, but be the same level of thoughts, the same level of feelings as I always had been. So nothing was actually changing inside me. I was trying to use these thoughts so that this outside thing would change so then I would feel better. So I was trying to use my external circumstances to change the way I felt. My consciousness level had never changed. My state had never changed. I was thinking of it and really hoping and wishing that something would change so that I could feel better and get the end that I was really wanting. But since I did not change, the outside reflection of who I was being could not and did not change. All those assumptions that reflected a low worth, I had to shift long before I saw that reflected in my outside world. I did not wait for proof or validation or a reason on why I should feel worthy or why I feel valued. I basically let go of the idea that I wasn't. Letting go helped me receive my true worth, what actually resonated with me valuing myself, that led me to behaviors of starting to ask, what is it that I need to feel safe? What is it that I need in this situation? Starting to verbalize it. And basically anybody who couldn't handle that and they didn't have the space for it, they left my experience. They left my reality. Mostly too, because you don't resonate the same anymore. And the people and the experiences that I had never had before, they were able to move in. They were able to come into my experience. You will only have if that's a reflection of who you are being. And maybe you get it temporarily and maybe you've experienced that. You're like, no, but I've lived in the end and something happened, but then it won't stay. It's because you're not staying in that new state. I had to be in order to have any shifts in my life. And I did not shift those things in order to get. I shifted those things out of an act of self-love and grew into the courage to say yes to me, because I realized that yeses to others at the cost of a no to me is not worth it. Being around somebody else doesn't matter. And you can look at money, you can look at a career, whatever it is. If you feel, oh, if I have that amount of money, then I'll feel different. I'm going to think of living in the end in that abundance, but I'm going to be really stressed out about all my problems. I'm going to use that lack of money in my bank account. I'm going to use that rejection from a job. I'm going to use that person turning me down as an affirmation unconsciously to stay in the same state I am currently in. Neville Goddard didn't say live in the end unless all your current circumstances go against it, so then you can stay in the end, and that's totally understandable, and there's nothing you can do because you are the exception to the rule. He did not say that. He said that you're aware awareness of being, who you're being right now, is the only way that you have free choice. When you choose what state you are in, what level of consciousness you are, the more and more aware you get of your own behavior, the more you get to have free choice. The more I started to say yes to me, the more I was authentic to myself, the more I listened to myself, the more I prioritized my needs and my experience, the more I made room and created that call out, that signal, hello, universe. Send something that also resonates with this me I'm being, send that to me. Now, you might be thinking, okay, great, Abby, that was a great blast from the past, but what am I supposed to do with this information? There's 3 steps that can help you right now to start shifting into actually living in the end rather than thinking of it. Number 1 is gonna be awareness, and that might seem really anticlimactic. And I'm gonna actually use something that Dr. Joe recommends. He says that basically you wanna write out what it is, whatever those thoughts that are associated with those lower level feelings, the worry, the doubt, the fear, all of that. Write out as much as you can about the beliefs, what kind of things you start thinking and it leads you to do certain things, right? What end are you living in right now? Become so aware of those that they do not slip by your conscious mind. They do not become unconscious. So for me, if it's, oh man, what is this person thinking? Oh, maybe if I can get them to like me, then, oh, there I go again. I'm rejecting myself. No, that's not the end I want. I want to live in the end where I get that safe, loving relationship. So I got to have that with myself. Write down whatever it is that you believe, all those assumptions that you have right now. And you might be saying, Abby, I don't even know what they are. What am I supposed to do? How am I even supposed to start? Don't worry. I actually created a worksheet that can help you uncover your unconscious assumptions and beliefs. If you're interested in that and you want a little bit more help, go through this worksheet. It's going to be pinned in the comments below, and I'll also put a link in the description as well. So just click on it, download it, and work your way through it so you can start becoming aware of it. And this is Carl Jung. Until you make conscious, until you're aware of what is unconscious, it will continue to run your life and you'll call it fate. So it's vital that you become aware of whatever it is that you're currently thinking and feeling. So go ahead and get that worksheet and start uncovering whatever it is that's holding you back. The second thing you want to do to start living in the end that you desire right now is, okay, you're going to become aware of it. Wonderful. Congratulations. The second thing you're going to do, ready? You're going to become aware of it in the moment. And that's going to be one of the trickier things, because you're going to have these big emotions, or maybe you're going to say, oh no, it's concrete. there's nothing I can do. Look at that thing, right? My circumstances lock me in here. Okay, I'm using my outside world to control the way I feel inside. I'm unconsciously using it as an affirmation to keep me where I am. And the third and final thing that you can do to karate chop yourself away from these experiences you no longer want is to make the new choice in the moment. So I've got to be aware of what meaning I'm giving that circumstance or that thing. I've got to be aware of my own behavior and what values and beliefs and assumptions I have, and choose something new in that moment. And what you can also do is not only write down the ways of being that you no longer wanted, the thoughts, the feelings that are associated with that. Also write down the actual end that you want to live in. So you're very clear on who is it that you are being. The new, the thoughts and feelings of that new and that desired, thinking from that, or are you still in the current experience that you no longer want to be in? As you start to do this more and more and more, and you overcome your past, in your current moment, you create a new future. And that would be called living in that end that you deserve, that you are worth. You are worth living in your dreams out loud. I believe in you. I'm rooting for you. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, click the like below. If you haven't done so already, join the family, click that subscribe. And if you really like this video, I'm going to recommend this one as well. It's all about the 3 assumptions I had that were blocking love. I love y'all, and I'll see you on the next one.